Okay.
And Tamisha, how do you typically meet with the Ripen Marketplace institutions? Like, do you prefer to give a little high-level overview of your project first and then learn more about the program, or vice versa?
It doesn't matter. Yeah, because usually we have so many needs. I usually like to hear about what you guys need and what your students are doing because I tailor that and can come up with something that we need on our end, tailored to the skill set of the students.
Awesome. Okay, so I'll give a high-level overview of our program, and then where sort of Sarika saw a good fit based on how we run our capstone, and then you can let us know if you have a project sort of available based on what was on the Ripen Marketplace.
Okay.
Awesome. Okay, so we are Ontario Tech University. We're about 45 minutes east of Toronto. We just celebrated our 21st sort of anniversary, so we're a fairly new institution in comparison to our competitors and our counterparts within the sort of Ontario area. But we specifically support the Faculty of Business and Information Technology. So that's your traditional Bachelor of Commerce degree. So accounting, finance, HR, marketing, to name a few, as well as a program in the Bachelor of Information Technology, which is networking and IT security, as well as game development and interactive media design. Regardless of their program, all of our students are required to complete some sort of experiential learning component before they go to graduate. So some do a traditional internship where they get, one-on-one experience and a job, but the majority of the students are doing what's called our Capstone program. So these are fourth year students looking essentially to gain some experience so that when they go on to graduate, they're sort of labor market ready and have sort of competitive experience when they do graduate. So they do work in teams of 3 to 5 on a capstone project. So we're looking to connect our students with industry related projects based on their major. So I think the project that Sarika was looking at was sort of for finance, maybe some sort of like strategic analysis or partnership or something along those lines. But yeah, so students would work in teams of 3 to 5. They commit roughly 5 hours per student towards their project per week. So we say they're like a mini sort of part-time employee working for an organization on a project. And then in terms of an industry client, we require that you're available at least 5 hours over the course of the semester. So that could be, a meeting every other week or a meeting for half an hour sort of every week, depending on how you want to do that with the students. They do elect a team leader, so that person would do the majority of the communicating with the client. That way, you're not necessarily getting 5 emails about the same 5 things from 5 different students. So the one student that would be the team lead would do the majority of the communicating. So they would set up their meetings, take the meeting minutes, put together agenda items, things like that. Um, and then they do work with a professor as well as some teaching assistants within the course itself. So our role is just to source the projects, let industry know about our program that we do offer at the university, and then present the projects to the professor of the capstone course itself. So we are looking for projects for our fall semester. So that would be September to December. We do run a 12-week semester. And then we would just need some basic information about your project, any skill set that you need from the students, and if the scope is achievable within a 12-week time frame.
Yes, yes. And I can take all your programs, game development, marketing, finance. If you have students that need placement, I've been doing this locally with Shaw University for the past 10 years. And so,
Okay.
COVID, what we did was we're taking the process that we use with students and the same thing that you're doing. We operate in the project management. We give them software. We're using ClickUp. And now with the AI tools that are available, what we're able to give is some real quality work to the people that we serve. And we serve small businesses, nonprofits, people who can't afford marketing. And we come in and we give them marketing solutions. We stock up their social media calendars. We do business development plan for them. I just came from an accounting class, a QuickBooks class, so that we can actually be like a one-stop share center so that we can equip small businesses with what they need, visionaries with what they need. I usually a lot work with visionaries who are walking around with this idea, but they're going to work from 9 to 5. And I come along with the matrix pill. Here's, you want the blue pill or you want the red pill?
Mhm.
And so I'm able to equip them with students around them to be able to reach objectives quarterly or by semesters or summer semesters where we are moving their business along to take it from an idea to a marketplace online to stacking inventory to supplying services, then to giving them the accounting that they need, and then consulting them along the way. And I do it by training a group of students on what it is that I know, and then I put those students around and help me with the work. And now what we're doing is we charge them very minimal. I don't even pay myself. Haven't for the last 20 years. I just go around and collect tools and more tools and more tools and more tools. And what we're doing is looking to implement these services into communities under the newest client we have calling Communiversity. So I can look at what a client needs. We break it down, we build it. We offer not only solutions for small businesses, but we also do an education initiative where we are supplying STEM and micro school learning and getting ready for the defunding of American schools as this federal legislation hits America, and which America has been preparing for quite some time because I think what we've learned, what America learned and didn't tell anybody, and that's just based upon what I saw during business school, was that manufacturing is very, very dirty. It messes up your water, messes up your environment. You got waste when you are, and they subbed it all out to China, and so now America is going to a place where it just wants to only have a third of the population and rely on robots. And so that's really their plan. And I don't think that I think that as it hits America, most people are like, what are we going to do? Because we haven't planned for that. And so this is a plan for that is, okay, what are we going to do with these communities that are not a part of the MSA? In America, that's a metropolitan statistical area where a majority of the population are only concentrated in about three to five or six or seven different cities within a state. The rest of
Mhm.
it is rural communities, being cut off by broadband. And so what we're doing is getting those communities ready for this, getting those communities ready for being able to sustain themselves as we implement, as we see the robots going into the grocery stores, as we see the robots going into fast food restaurants, as we see the robots replacing full-time employees. What is America going to do with rural areas and large populations of people that don't have access to education, food, supplies, that kind of thing? And so that's what we are doing for communities. And so the help of having international students from Ontario, from Canada, from Africa, from parts of the United States has been a huge support and getting the communities the resources that they're going to need as we see these cuts come across and not and the lack of jobs here in the states. So that's kind of what we do. We break it down quarter by quarter. We give it chunk size projects that can be completed. We support the students each week, so we'd like to be able to be with the students to guide them if there's some training available. Usually we're taking students that are coming from a certain discipline and they are really, really coming in and giving us some amazing work, so we appreciate you guys for that. Some of the products we have are, right now we're doing a robotics competition. We do have a first robotics. It is a global competition that happens in America. These kids are amazing kids. They're the top tier, but these kids are not coming from the rural counties or tier one and tier two counties of the state. So that we have one initiative that is taking robotics and exposing it to all kids and not just kids with resources. So that's one project that we have in addition to the business development that we have. And those are the two projects that we're working on right now, plus a relaunch of our nonprofit to go just from more than just a nonprofit to a community development corporation where we're doing land acquisition and we want to be able to have physical assets and a storefront in those communities. So that's the gist of what we're doing. And I think our
Awesome.
catch was the finance piece. I think that's what we're looking at with this particular project. Let me look and see. I think it was the Ontario. I think it was the finance piece. I don't know where we.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just trying to get Ripen to load for myself too.
Okay.
You want me to share my
Um,
screen? So I have it up here.
Yes. Okay. Yes.
Oh. So I did see that you had two. You had one under game development and one under finance accounting, which is great. I think we have more of a focus, or we have more of a need within finance and accounting. So I mean, maybe we can look at this one, and then game development, maybe something that we can look at for a future semester, because I believe Christine has found all of the projects she needs for game development. Is that correct, Christine?
Okay, so that is great because we've got years of financials. We've been operating under the radar in the United States. If you're grossing under $50,000 a year, you fly under the radar. You don't have to do the 990s that kind of give you that wiggle room. And so now we put our infrastructures in, and AI is basically really allowing us to do so much because it takes the students' work from novice to professional when I am standing with them to show them how to use these tools. And so we've got to get our books in line. And I just came from an accounting software. We do have QuickBooks, and we do need some help in running those financials so that we can really go from what we call move our status from a nonprofit to a community development corporation. So this will be perfect for us and helps us with our repositioning in the marketplace where we are looking at land acquisition as well.
So in terms to Tamisha, in terms of like a 12-week sort of scope of a project, what do you see like a student team of like, let's say like 4 students working on as like a deliverable?
Going through the books and doing the financials for the TMT in QuickBooks, being able to code it, being able to match the codes to the chart of accounts, and being able to spit us out. I think we got 4 years of transactions that need to go through. So to be able to say, hey, Tamisha, here's your profit and loss sheet for the TMT Youth Community Foundation at the end of their quarter.
Okay. And do you, because I'm not the student, 2 things. Obviously, because the accounting principles would be different in Canada versus the United States. Um, I'm not entirely sure if the students within the accounting finance sector have QuickBooks training specifically. But that's something that we can ask the professor or go back to the faculty on as well. If they don't, um, but they're able to sort of like take that on, do a quick high level overview of it, and then produce the reports that you're looking for, the financial data that you're looking for. From there, are you looking for recommendations on what you should do based on the data that's pulled?
Yeah, I would like for them to be able to say, hey, how we compare and compare us to what would be a YMCA or
Okay.
a Salvation Army,
Okay.
and for them to see if they can pull their financials since they're publicly traded and see how we compare up to
Okay.
theirs. The chart of accounts is already done. It's just really someone has to go in manually and match to the chart of accounts what these expenses are, and we
Okay.
just don't ever have time to do that.
Okay. Yeah, I think what we could do is we could provide you with some example deliverables that the students are capable of doing
Okay.
within a 12-week scope, and then you could sort of what we need you to do is basically is fill out our project proposal form for the institution, very similar to what's on Ripen, a little bit about your organization,
Okay.
what like your key deliverable would be at the end of this. So, if you want an environmental scan of how you are competitive analysis on how you compare to like the YMCA, United Way, any of those sort of not-for-profit organizations,
Mhm.
in terms of your financials, and that could potentially be something that they can do within the 12-week scope. We would just have to review the project proposal with our faculty member to make sure that it aligned with sort of the capabilities of the students.
Okay. And we do have the training on, I could actually, that's why we meet with them. We want to make sure that they're successful in this and
Of
that they
course.
actually build their portfolio and they actually have those tangibles to deliver. So that's
Of
why we
course.
make sure that we meet with them on a weekly basis so that if there are any problems, we've dealt with students for over 10 years. We
Yep.
know how students, that they've got a lot to do. So they will turn that will to something else that they understand and can get accomplished. And so that is one of the reasons that we are with them, and I usually pair them with a professional, if not myself,
Mhm.
a professional to be able to lead the students. So we usually meet with the students together, and then we meet with the project, and then I meet with the project director at the end of the week. And these are usually Saturday meetings where if there's any objectives that haven't been met, we can kind of move through those obstacles so that we can get a deliverable at the end of the period of the scope of the project.
Awesome. One thing that we do throughout the course of the semester, and it'll come from Sarika, is we do send out 3 forms of feedback. So, 6 weeks, how is everything going at the midpoint of the semester? Do we need to address anything? 9 weeks, like, are the students on track? And then at 12 weeks, like, what were the deliverables? Are you happy with what was sort of provided from the student team? The 9 and 12-week feedback does go towards the student's final grade. So we do want them to be successful and have something tangible to produce to their client at the end of the semester in order to be successful in the course.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, we're on the
Okay.
same page with that. Mhm.
Awesome. So what we can do as a next step is just send you our example sort of deliverables as well as our project proposal form.
Okay.
That way you can review some information about the institution and how we sort of like go about Capstone. And then as far as next steps, we would present the project to our faculty. So the capstone professor themselves, they would just review it, make sure it sort of aligns well with the course of the semester, and then we would let you know next steps from there. Our
Okay.
semester does start the week of September 2nd, so just after Labor Day. And then you would know ideally by the end of the week if the project's been selected and matched with the team.
That sounds good to me.
Awesome. Do you have any questions?
No, this is wonderful. How long have you guys been with Ripen?
We hasn't I started with the university in 2021, but I think they started using it around 2019.
Okay, okay. So
Yeah.
you guys, this is part of what you guys do. You guys love the deliverables and the companies you've met so far.
Yeah, so as an institution, we do have some industry partners that we work with sort of locally, but we do use Ripen when we want to gain like some additional experience outside of our local sort of marketplace.
Okay.
But yeah, we've been using Ripen for several years. It sort of made some changes over the last couple, like I would say 5 years, to their marketplace itself. But yeah, one other thing is that the you had mentioned project management sort of when you were giving your description is they do follow project management principles, agile, when they're going through it. And they do produce a charter document as well as a Gantt chart in the first couple of weeks. That's our first assignment in the course, so
Okay.
that you know, given this timeline, this is when the students are expecting to reach X, Y, and Z throughout the project as well.
Okay. Okay. And we do that usually with ClickUp. So when I give
Awesome.
the information is through ClickUp, and ClickUp automatically does that for the student.
Perfect.
Sounds
Okay.
good.
Awesome.
Okay.
Great.
Well, I mean, are there any more questions on kind of like what we do and kind of the process or anything like that?
I don't have any questions. Sarika, do you have any questions?
I don't. And so just like Christine said, we'll send over the examples and the proposal template. Once we receive that from you, we can then present it to our faculty.
Okay.
So if you get that to us maybe like by beginning of next week, we can make sure faculty looks at it, and then we can maybe give you a response as to yes, this looks good for a project. And then, like Christine said, we'll know September, that first week of September, whether a student has or student group has picked it up as their project.
That sounds good. Now, I mean, now that I have you, since I have you online, can you tell me more about the game development pieces? When I saw that, I was like, oh my gosh, that would be so grand. How can you tell me how that works with the Capstone project?
Yeah, because our capstone, I will preface our capstone runs every semester. It would just be a different set of group or a different cohort of students each semester. Game development themselves, they do, it's a 4-year degree program, so they're getting a bachelor's in IT with a specialization in game development. But the students can specialize in an area. So maybe they want to do game art or game sound or, design, or they're just like an artist themselves, right? So typically, they will design like assets for a game. So if you have like an idea and you need some assets built within the game, that's something that's achievable within a 12-week scope. Um, yeah, just they do a lot of designing and sort of building. It's just we're sort of stuck within a 12-week scope, which doesn't necessarily allow like a full game to be developed, but different parts of a game can be developed over the course of a semester.
Okay, and does that game is like how is it? Is it like a app kind of game, or is it like a PlayStation kind of game, or how does that work?
Mostly, like I would say, like within an app, or like a lot of times the students throughout their degree, from like first year all the way to fourth year, they start building a game. So each year they're sort of developing their game further and further. So they have the skills to sort of, most of them will like put it on, I think like they call it Twitch. I don't know.
Okay, yeah.
They put it on like streaming platforms essentially. So it's not necessarily like a physical game that you would buy and like put on your PlayStation. You might be able to download it to your PlayStation, but for the most part, they're putting it on online sort of gaming systems.
Yeah, that makes
Yeah.
sense. Switch is a big gaming space. Okay.
Yeah.
Kind of know because as we build this relationship, I want to be one of those partners you turn to. It's like, hey, Tamisha, this is what we got. And you know I'm a good turn to. So that's what I'm
Awesome.
looking to cultivate
Okay.
that relationship like we've done
Perfect.
locally with Shaw University. So
Okay.
I'd like to
Great.
thank you guys for your time today, and I'll look for the template if you guys don't have any more questions.
Awesome. Yeah. We can follow
No
up with that
questions
after.
on my end. Yeah, we'll definitely send over the template. And then, of course, if you have any questions at all, you can reach out to both of us. I'll put both of us on the email as well.
Okay, and thanks for reaching
Awesome.
because I think I must have missed you guys in the space of because I saw like, okay, I think Sarika reached out after Christine reached out like the earlier the month, and I think Sarika, you came back and reached out again. So I'd like to thank you guys because I must have missed you. And it got really busy with Ripen. I'm very excited about what we have access to with this platform. So I just found out about it. We've only used it for one semester, and we got students from NATE, the National Alberta Institute Technology, I think in
Okay.
Canada.
All right.
And the
Awesome.
students are amazing. And I just appreciate this platform and being able to reach outside of our local area.
Us too.
Likewise, yeah.
All right. Well, thank you,
Awesome.
ladies. I'll look for the template, and I appreciate your time today.
No problem. Nice to meet you.
Yes, ma'am.
Very nice meeting you, Tamisha. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Y'all have a good day.